Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is going to be my first tutorial. I don't know if I can consider it a tutorial. It's just a breakdown of my process on how to iRoto stuff. Throughout the years, the more you do this, the more you get a certain flow, the more you start doing it your way. This is the way I do it. This is the flow that has worked for me. Everybody's gonna have their own process. But anytime you're rotoing something, you should definitely break the roto. And I hear this all over the place. Break the roto up into pieces. Don't try to roto one big shape. If there's an arm and the arm is doing one specific movement, break it up like that. So let's look at this shot, right? We're rotoscoping this girl, right? She flies across the screen, right? And she's introducing another shot over here. So as she's moving across, this whole section would be another shot. So the shot probably starts out like maybe right here with the mom. She comes across, boom, the boy moves across to the left, and the girl comes in. As soon as we see this part, this is a totally different shot. So now it's like, okay, how are we gonna roto this? Look, her arm, her arm, we could look at her arm as one object, right? Because it does its own thing. We could look at the head as its own object because, we start off here at this angle, we start seeing more of her head, right? More of her profile. So we can treat this as one shape. And I did this shot before, but roughly, so I can send it to the client. And yeah, definitely, I used a couple of masks to mask this in. So let's see. So now I don't think I'm gonna roto her hand moving up because at this point the shot should be over right when her nose exits the screen. So right here. So I wouldn't even bother. If anything, if we have to, then we'll roto the hand. But at this point, no. I'm gonna set a marker here, and I'm gonna set a marker for when the shot starts, when we need to start rotoing, like right there, right here, right? So cool. Let me go to my simple view. Oh yeah, another thing is I love how After Effects, you can set up a workspace now. I mean, I know you could do that long time ago, but I just never utilized them. I always got into the project and did my thing. Now I set up my workspaces. I have this workspace where it has minimal, some plugins and some scripts over here that are very essential. Then I have the simple where it's just the timeline and the video. Then I have the Tapia one, which is all the plugins that I use on a day-to-day basis that help me out. The anchor, the line tool, riff that always really helps me out in staggering. Even though I just bought Keystone, so I'll see. But anyways, so I'm going to the simple view now. I'm gonna crop this timeline. We need to crop it because Mocha, it's gonna look at the whole clip. So in order to roto this little section, let's just crop into this one little area, trim the area. All right, so cool. So I'm using Effects Console by Video Copilot. Everybody should download that. It allows you to find plugins and scripts real quick. Well, mostly plugins. So Mocha AE. Let's go into Mocha AE. I need to register that. Still haven't. So let's go in here and start looking at the shot. So let's see. The head is going to be its own roto. The head, I guess I would start right here in the middle. Start right here. You can use Z to zoom in and out, X to move around, Z. And I usually use this, what is this? Yeah, the X spline, because it's just more flowy. It's just more, smoother. So let's start going around the subject, start looking for the contour of the subject. And mostly, we don't have to worry about this section. It's mostly about the contour of her head. So, but at the same time, let's just do the contour of her head. Okay, I messed up, but whatever. I'm gonna rearrange these. All right, boom, boom. Oh man. All right, cool. Let's get up in here. Sometimes you don't need to be super precise because Mocha does a really good job at tracking, and you could always go back and clean up. You could always go back and clean up. And you can use these little lines, these lines and squares to soften up your selection. You can grab multiple uh, at the same time and go in and start softening them up, which is cool. Boom, boom, boom. I think that's cool for now until we, of course, there's a part of an ear here, but it's so blurred that, it's so blurred. But for now, I'm gonna roll, I think, let's see. And then sometimes this is trial and error. Sometimes Mocha gets it in the beginning. Like sometimes Mocha just gets it. Sometimes you just have to go in there and keyframe stuff. So I would say let's make these sharper at the edge. Let's do this. So now what I would do is I would just track this. Sometimes I'll just track uh slowly, Let me go back to classic. I don't know, I'm just more comfortable in classic, I guess. This is where I started out. So I would just start tracking frame per frame per frame per frame just to see if things see right there. You see how this thing a new portion of a hair was introduced. That's why it didn't track that. If we go back, it's just tracking that. As soon as we start showing more, more pieces of her face and her hair, Mocha doesn't know what to do with it. Mocha's still kind of tracking this texture right here. So, and also, I totally forgot, but this shirt is another element too. That's another element you want to track too. So I would say let's keep on tracking back. No, forward, I mean. And let's see, boom, boom, boom. I would say right here, do another keyframe, right? And then, see one thing about right here, that's another keyframe right there. Try not to do anything crazy, but boom. So what we're doing is we're finding places where the roto slipped and just cleaning it up. Keep on tracking. So it's doing a good job at tracking. It's doing a good job at tracking the hair. And now it's out of this. Now it's out of the frame. Let's see. Let's see what we're looking at here. So boom, boom, boom. So at this point, I would just move this up. There you go. So now it leaves the frame. All right. So cool. This track looks good. This track looks good. Let me see. This track looks good. Of course, there's a whole bunch of hair right there, but I'm just gonna possibly just introduce another another piece of roto right there. Now let's track back. Cool, but it feels like it's so maybe we could just move this here and it'll do. I would say I would just clean this up here, clean that up here, clean that up here, clean that up here, clean that right there, make it a little softer. Boom, boom, boom. Just try to find the contours of whatever it is you're rotoing. This can go here, that can go there. Remember, we're not using this side. I'm just gonna put a big block on this other side, on the left side. But for now, I just, like to see that at least I'm rotoing the contour, at least the head. Let's see. So that happens so fast. It's like, as long as you don't see any jitters in it, boom. So that's it. That's the final Let me see if it moves up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. So here we could just trim it. We can use this button right here to trim the roto. And I would say, what's the main thing? I would say the main thing right now is to roto her head. Roto her, yeah, her head. So I would start right here and see what happens. Remember, sometimes this is trial and error. You don't get it in the beginning. So I would turn this off and let's use that tool and start going across the contour of her face. Sometimes I'm rough and then I get it and I start tweaking. So let's see. Start cleaning these up, round this out. Here, here, come here. Start moving these around. Use these points to soften stuff up. Grab these two, soften that up. Move that there, soften that up. Soften this one up, move that there. Soften that one up. Soften that up. Yeah, there's so many soft edges. I usually go in between where the blur is. See this? Usually go in between where the blur is. Then we could add additional blur after the fact. After we make our matte, we could add additional blur if we have to. Let's see. Let's see. All right, that looks good to me. Let's see what Mocha does. Let's see what Mocha does. I usually boost up the strength so it has enough pixels. Let's go hair. Hair one because we might have to do another. We have to face. And let's track. Oh my God, that slipped horribly. Wow. Okay. So what is going on here? Can we bring it back down to 20? Will it do a good job at that? Yeah. Wow. Sometimes when you give it too much, when you boost up the strength, it just, wow, it doesn't work, which is crazy. So I would just keep on tracking this, right? So cool. That's, wait, what? Dude, we could always fake that though. So there you go. So what I would do here is, I would go to the middle part, to the midsection, and start cleaning this up. And you can grab these, you can press Control and start grabbing these edges, and everything will move all at the same time. So you're transforming the whole thing if you press Control. Let's see, this got all messed up, so we could clean this up. Yeah, there's certain cases where sometimes you could just press Control and reach, just transform the whole thing at once, all at the same time. But there's sometimes like this, like the mouth moved. She did something with her mouth where we can't do that. That whole transform is just not gonna work. So let's do this. Let's try to reshape there, there, shape that. Let's see that, there. Let's see that, that, that. Yeah, there you go. So that's cool for now. Let's see. Boom. I think that's cool for now. Let's smooth that out a little bit. There's some blur right there. There you go. So now let's see what happens. Boom. I would just move this whole thing there. Use her nose as a guide. Let's see. Yeah, use her nose as a guide. Just move it there. And let's see what happens with the track. No bueno. So it does its craziness. So I will go right here in the center. Just move this whole thing right there. And let's see. Grab all of these. Come in here. Move this here. And move this here for her chin. Let's see what happens. Oh my God, come on. Yeah, sometimes this thing it gets crazy. You know, you change one keyframe, it messes up everything around it. Well, I can just move this in, this in. We don't see the chin anymore, so you know, all we're doing is rotoing the nose. And at the very end, there you go. So it kind of did a good job. See, you see at this point right here, how the roto's messed up? Go into the middle. Don't try to like, just go into the middle of these two keyframes and fix it there. That'll give you a better result. At least that's what they, you know, that's what they say. Here, let's see. From here, reshape the head. And I'm gonna add another point because her mouth just right there. Just add another point there, soften that up. Add another point by using this plus arrow to add another point to the selection. Uh, move these all together. You know, the good thing is that you can move these things all together and keep the same proportions. Keep the same proportions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. That looks decent. And just start correcting in little areas. See how it, and that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, the plan is to always just get this to do one big move. Let's roll with that. Let's roll with that. Let's not try to add more keyframes to it. Because the trick is to add as little keyframes as possible. See, now this starts getting all crazy. So I would say I would stop the roto around, let me see. Let's just do one more. Because now her mouth starts getting crazy here. We have to flatten it. It's not getting crazy. I'm just saying it's, you know, the form of a mouth is starting to flatten based on the, you know, the way she moves her face. So we have to start fixing it there. Remember, this happens so fast, you don't see it. It just happens and you're like, what the heck? I didn't even realize that transition was gonna happen. those are good transitions when you don't realize that they're gonna happen or they're about to happen. So let's see. Come in here, fix this up. Here, fix this up. And I would stop it here, and I would make a copy that starts right here and eliminate all these points. Because you see how her face starts getting flat? It starts flattening out. So it's like I would take it right there. So boom, boom, boom. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this. Let's say face 1 maybe, because yeah, this roto would be the roto that comes before this roto. So let's do that, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim it. I'm gonna trim it here, and then I'm gonna start deleting all these little points right here. So let's turn this off. Start deleting all these little points here, right? So that it's just much more of a, it's just softer, right? So now as we keep on going back, it just gets softer and softer. Oh, let's see. Is that too? Nah, no, it's not. Come here. Let's just track and then we clean up. All right, so now we lose that nose. So this is the nose. We start losing it right there. So we start losing it right there. So now we have to do a whole bunch of just going in here, just reshaping this, reshaping that, reshaping all this. Shaping this, putting that up here. Let's see. And at this point, all these, all these points, there's too many points right here, but we're just gonna deal with them as long as they're kind of straight and soft. We're just gonna deal with them for now. But this is, as soon as as soon as an object starts getting flat, you don't want to have that many points in it. But I'm not deleting them because of all the points prior, all these points. So it kind of gets flat at this point. Let's see, and now we have that dip right there. So let's see. So if anything, maybe I could just dip it here. Do that. See what happens, Let's see what's going on here. There's still some craziness going on, which is, I think this is her chin right here now. And I don't know what that is. Oh, wait, is that her? What? Let me see. That's her face. Yeah, that's still her face. Okay, boom, boom. Let's see. There you go. So here, all this craziness. But here, I would just start pushing this stuff in, pushing this stuff in, pushing this stuff in. Try not to do anything crazy. So there's a flow. Push this stuff in right here. Okay, grab these, push them in a little bit. So there's some imaginary ear right here. So I would just like try to like move these around here. When I say imaginary, it's, you know, the blur of the ear. You know, there's still blur right here. There's still some blur right here. And then let's see what's happening now. There's still a little bit blur right there. Okay. At that point, at this point, I'm just gonna stop it here, make another roto, kind of just clean this up. So let's see. Dun, 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 dun. So and of course there's some stuff that I have to fix, but you don't want to add too many keyframes in here. You want it to be smooth. I learned the hard way. So okay, so cool. I'll start another layer here. I'll call this one whatever, 2 for now, and then we'll clean it up. But I just want to keep it flowing. So I'll trim it here, and then I'll start deleting a lot of these, like this one, this one, this one. Oh, not even, because it needs to. Let's see, and this one, and this one, and kind of that one, just to clean up the shape, so that when we, you know, so now it's just like I wouldn't even track this because there's just not enough information. So what I'll do is I'll just animate it. Boom, just bring it right here. Kind of just bring it right there, so that it becomes one with the hair from prior. So now if I bring back the hair, it should automatically align. It should start aligning with the hair roto. So let's see what's going on here. There you go. Let's turn on all these rotos so that we have the hair roto. We have the second roto. Okay, cool. Let's start naming these. So we have our hair, we have the face. Face will be the last one, so I would say face 3. And then let's see, this will be 2. And then this will be 1. This will be 2. Let's rearrange these. So now we have the hair and face 1. So let's go back here. And that starts right there. So we have the hair. Let's turn it off. There you go. So we have the hair contour. When we bring this in, the face is going to start to animate in. So if you see, it's like, you know, it's kind of blurry. We don't see anything yet, but we're kind of adding to that, the hair piece. So let's see, let's move back. Okay, so right here, we could start this hair roto, being that the face roto, being that the hair is already, it's taking up this space, and the roto, the face roto is behind the hair, or it's within the hair. We could just trim it right here until we start seeing it outside of the hair roto. So right here, we don't need face 1 roto here. We can just start it here. So I would just trim, use this little trim button right here. So now this is trimmed here. So now we'll start adding all these other pieces. Let's go back to essential view so we have just a bigger view. And let's scrub through. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Boom. So now phase 3. Let me see. Let's see what. So phase. So this one starts here. So phase 2 starts here. So I would just trim it right there. So phase 2 starts right there. If it ends right there, we could just trim it right there. Then phase 3 starts right here and it goes to the end. So phase 3 we could trim right here. Boom. Oh yeah, another thing you could press, let's say it's up here. Let's say your frame is up here. You could press Z and double click and it zooms all the way back into the center, which is cool. So you see how we had to create 3 pieces of roto, three roto shapes for the face, just for the face, because it starts distorting. And even right here, let me see, is that her chin? No, that's the kid. Sometimes you have to make shapes in places where there are imaginary shapes. Like even here, I can clean this up, but let's get a rough roto going. Then we can see how the roto. Let's see how the roto holds up. And sometimes the roto is so, even though the roto, it may look off here, but once you apply the roto to your video, you may not see all these little imperfections, right? It may just work off the gate. It may just, as you're watching the shot, if nothing pops out to you, if the roto doesn't jitter and it just feels like one smooth movement, you could just move on and work on another shot. Instead of trying to go in there and go into each frame, because the thing is, once you start going into each frame, that's when you're going to start adding these little micro jitters to your roto, and it's not going to look right. So let's see. I'm just going to leave this as is. Let's do the shoulder. So we start seeing the shoulder here. Let's turn everything off. Let's see. Kind of start seeing the shoulder here. All right, so let's see if Mocha will track this shoulder. I will grab all this, smooth it out, come here, make that one sharp, boom, 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 come here. We only kind of need this part right here, not everything, but still, it's it's good to give Mocha a shape to track. So let's see, we come here, move that there, because we'll add some blur. So cool. So let's see what happens now. Let me bump this up. Well, you know what? It gave us a value, so let's stick with that value. Let's go shoulder, name it shoulder, and track it forward. You see, that's why I usually like to just track it one by one, just in case there's like, the track goes off or there's an error. There you go. So it's doing a good job at tracking the shoulder. So right there kind of failed. So I would say I would keep on tracking it to right there. So now I'm just manual tracking, just moving it there. Hopefully it does a good job at, maybe not, maybe not. I should have just set a keyframe. Let me see. I should have just set a keyframe here. Set a keyframe, press this plus button, plus key, go down there, and I'm just gonna shift this over. So now we have a keyframe that goes from here to there, then we can start fixing it. Let me see. No bueno. So it's always good to go in the in the middle of keyframes to fix stuff. So here I'll just move this here, move this down, move this here, that down, and let's see what happens. Okay, so it's starting to. Okay, so now there's this weird dip. This weird dip. This moves. This has to move up. Let's see. And I could come here, take out that keyframe, and just move that over, because I created another shape. I created this weird shape. And if I was to leave this keyframe there like it was, we have this big mound. And being that we created this shape, we want to be able to keyframe this shape to this keyframe right here. So I would just delete that, set another keyframe, move the shape. Now it's, it continues the shape that it was right here at this keyframe. So now I can just move this over, and we wouldn't get that weird, we wouldn't get we wouldn't get this like interpolated shape shift from this skinny hill right here to a larger hill. So hopefully that made sense. See, now we got that weird dip right there, but yeah, we get this weird dip right there. But you know what, I'm gonna leave that there for now. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. So let's see what happens. So right here, this is where it ends. So I'm just gonna trim that shoulder. And now with this shoulder, let's continue rotoing it over here. See, it just died. I don't know why it died here. I don't know what's going on, why it died here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually track it. So I'm just going to come here and move it there. Let's see, move it here. You can press Command to move it straight in a straight line. Boom, let's do that. And let's turn on the hair, because maybe the hair is already kind of dealing with this mask. Now there's a little bit of shoulder right there. Oh, there you go. So now this shoulder, we can just trim it right here, because when we go to this frame, the hair is doing all that roto for the shoulder. So it's like, all this stuff, it's like you really have to look at what you're rotoing and just kind of figure it out. Okay, what's going on? What covers what? What other roto can I use to cover this? And this is all trial and error. You get to the point where you have your little tactics. Well, this happens here. Maybe I can use this roto to cover this up at this point. And remember, it's always about doing a roto, trimming. All right, so I'm gonna need another shape that starts here, because this piece of the image starts coming into the shot, starts revealing into the shot. So then you may need to make another roto. So that's the whole thing. And you start your roto at that keyframe. Then the roto, maybe that image moves off screen, or it's obscured by something else. So then, you just have to study the shot. Look at the shot, see what's going on. All right, so cool. So now we have our shoulder. Let me turn on everything. Turn off this cog. Let's play this and see what happens here. Boom, boom, boom. We got our shoulder, hair, all this. This looks like it's gonna hold. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. See, but then we have that hair. And then we have a little bit more hair here possibly, but I'll fix that. So let's grab this second shot. So this father and son, right? Let's bring it in here. Come here. Now what we can do is we can create a mat. My mats are usually green. So let's say track mat. My mats are usually green. What you want to do is you want to take the Mocha AE mask information and apply it to this mat, so that it's separated from the actual footage, so that you can do whatever you want. You can add blurs to it, do whatever you want, independent from the actual footage. You don't want to do that. So let's go back into this piece of footage. Let's go back into the mats. Let's go to this visible layer button and click on the layers that we want to use. We want to use the shoulder, the face, all these. We want to use all these, right? So now press OK on that. All these layers right here will be visible. This is what Mocha creates the masks from, right? And what we need to do is I usually go to the first frame and I create masks. So these are all the masks that make up the animation. And what Mocha does, I think they maybe I don't have the newest version, or maybe they will come out with a version. But with the tracking data, what it does is it allows you to pick a layer that you want to add the tracking data to. It would be awesome if you could add these masks to a certain layer, but no, right now it adds the mask to the layer that you tracked. So now I would go in here, control exit, and then paste. And then another big thing too is when you paste the mask in here, it doesn't, it follows the trim the way you have it, right? Your trim, but these masks live across the whole frame. You see how this, let's say I go to this end, right? This mask, right? This yellow mask, right? It stays there, which is not bad, but then you have this face mask right here. You see this face mask right here? It just lives across the whole frame. It lives across the whole video. We don't want that. So what I usually do, that's phase 3. So what I usually do is I grab this keyframe here, copy it, go one keyframe over, right? One keyframe over, and just move it out of the frame. Same thing with what's this one? This one? Yeah, this keyframe right here. That mat right there. What I usually do is grab this keyframe, copy it, go here, paste, and move this out of the scene. Same thing with which one is this one? Oh yeah, there you go. Same thing with this one. We only needed it for these 4 frames. So now I would copy that, move that across. Wait, what? I would copy this, copy that frame, paste one there, and I would just move it off the frame, the screen. Oh, there you go. So we missed this whole piece, which I can build. I can build a quick mask for that. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so this one is phase 2. So I would just come here, copy this, move one keyframe over, paste, and move it out of the shot. So at this point, I would just kill it right here. I would just kill this right here. So let's see. So right here, I would create a whole mat, a whole new mat just to cover this little piece up. So let's do this now. Let's press the pen tool, come here, just fill this little area in. Just fill it in. Just fill that area in. And let's see, press M, make a keyframe here, scrub through it, find out, let's see, come here, close it, press V, let's see, come on. There you go. So just reshape it so that it can fill that little hole up. I know it's super rough, but it fills in the hole. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, it fills in the hole. And then here, cool. And then this whole piece right here is all messed up. And we also need to add, let's see. Okay, we don't want that. We also need to add one square mask. I would add, double click on this to create a rectangle. And what we want to do is animate that mask across the screen. Come here. Let's see. So it starts out here, right? So this mask starts out here. Kind of right here, and it has to, let me see. Yeah, so it starts out. Starts out here. And what you want to do is you want to just move it across with this, just move it across with the main mask. That main mask, there you go. So by that time, so basically we're seeing this green mask will let us see that whole clip. and then reveal the kid, the man, the dad with his son. So now let's apply this matte to the video and see what we get. Press F4. Okay, now let's apply this matte to the piece of footage. So usually you just press F4 to bring up the mattes, bring up the track mattes. Press alpha on this, and there you go. I'll fix this stuff up. This stuff sometimes you just need you know, just a matte, just to feather it out. Let's see what we. All right, so cool. So now what I would do here is you can put on the motion blur, and what it'll do is it'll add motion blur to the edges of the matte, which is awesome. There you go, and it kind of fixes it up. Look at that. I don't see any mess ups here. So then we would start the shot from like kind of like right here, like maybe right here, and then let's see, turn this shot off, and then end the dad shot like kind of right here. There you go. There you have your transition. Oh wait. Oh yeah, there you go. So let's fix this. Oh yeah, in order to turn this on and off, you could press Control Shift and H. That's on a PC. On a Mac it'll be Command Shift and H to turn off these excess layers, to turn off the mask and everything, just in case visually they get in the way, and you need to get a clearer view of what you're working on. You could always shut those excess layers off, turn them on and off. So let me go back to that mask. There's a mask, right? There's a mask that's messing around. So this mask right here, which is this pink mask, let's animate it out. Let's see. So now let's see if that, there was a mess up if I turn off so if I turn off the motion blur, there is this thing right here that's, kind of messing this stuff up. But once I turn on the motion blur, it fixes everything up. So that's awesome. The fact that you can add motion blur to a mask, depending on how fast the mask is moving, the motion blur is smart enough to calculate the speed. That to me is genius. So basically, I didn't have to add any kind of blur to the, we still can add blur to the mats if we want to. Let me add a little bit of blur to these mats. To hide this, let me see. Let me select all these and add a little bit of blur, right? We can still add blur to it. Just a slight blur, maybe 5, right? Just 5. And that'll add a little extra blur on top of the motion blur. So let's see. And it does a good job at adding blur to the edge of the hair. And then I see a little bit of darkness around the nose, but that happens so fast. It's like, who's looking at that? Let's see. Right there. So we can fix that. Like I saw it. And let me see. So look. So here's clean right there. That's where it gets messed up. So let's try to find that. Let's press Shift Control H or Shift Command H. Let's look for that mask. I'm just gonna recolor it so that I know what I'm looking at. Boom. All right, cool. So now I guess with this matte, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shift it over maybe by 2 pixels. 1, 2, and then let's see if no, it doesn't take it away. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 pixels to the left, and we got rid of that dark halo. Move to the next keyframe, and let's do the same. Let's bring this back up, Let's hide it, and let's go 10 pixels to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Until we get rid of that black halo. And then right here, the shot is done, right? So what we can do is we can press Alt and right bracket, Alt right bracket to trim this layer. And I hate, maybe there's an option that I don't know about, but I hate when I want it to trim here. It still gives me this extra frame, but I want it to trim there. And what we can do is we can press U twice or U once in order to collapse all those keyframes. We don't want that. And then what we can do here is press plus and minus in order to zoom in and hold space to move your timeline around. Press plus to zoom in. Boom, boom, boom. So now what I want to do is, okay, this is the father and son. Let's name this because just to name this mom and children, whatever, children, all right? And this is the mat. I usually color my mats green. Boom, boom, boom. This, let's hide this. Let's click on this shy button. Click on that. This shy button just to hide that layer. And all we need, let's see, just to hide it for now because, you know, it's just too much going on to hide layers. Let's see. So boom, boom, boom. This plays for a little bit before his head moves back. So let's see. Boom. Boom. Let's see. Do you see anything? Is anything off? Let's see. Let's see. Is anything off? Oh, okay. There's something going on here, right? Yeah, there's something going on there. I don't know what oh, there you go. What happened there? There's something going on there. So there you go. That's perfect. So where's that? That's the shoulder. Yeah, sometimes this stuff is just not perfect, you know? So right there, like sometimes this stuff is just not perfect. Like right here, this is supposed to move. This is supposed to be over here somewhere, right? This is supposed to be over here somewhere. We're not supposed to see. Go to the next frame. Just move it over. Sometimes this stuff happens. I mean, I don't want it to happen, but you know, sometimes it happens. Move it over until we lose that blue or whatever that is, and that's it. So it was just those two frames. Let's see. All right, cool. So now let's look at the shot, and let's see what happens here. There you go. There you go. I think that looks good. I think that looks good. And I think I would add a little bit of motion to the father and son, just so that it feels like it's coming, you know, as it's revealing, it's moving into the shot. So let's add a little bit of motion to that. Let's add a keyframe. You could press Shift Alt P to create a new keyframe, and you could press J and K on your keyboard to jump in between keyframes. So I'm using these markers to jump back and forth to. So I'm pressing J to move back, K to move forward, J to move back, K to move forward. Now I want to add another keyframe here. Press Shift Alt P to add another keyframe. And what I want to do is press J to go back. I want this father and son to kind of start over here, right? So that as we're moving across, there's some kind of movement. But then we missed that, right? We get that. So maybe it stops moving there. But I just want a little bit of movement. I just want a little bit of movement. See, yeah, that's too harsh. So I would say easy ease these. Let me see. There you go. Something like that. Where it's kind of like maybe even start the movement. There you go. Something like that. So it's like, so it just feels like maybe it's not. There you go. So we could also take this if the shot kind of like ends right there. We could also press Alt right bracket to trim it there, but then also move. What we can do is unselect this keyframe. We could also trim, we could also move our time where we want that video to start and end. We could move it here, which is amazing, because now what I want to do is I want to fill in this area. So if we move this over, you can see right here in this little area that the video clip is going to start here, and then we just move that up and we just trim it. So that's a new trim. If you want, you know, that's awesome that you can do that. So let's see. So we want the actual video. That didn't do anything, but it's like, let's see. And then also to fix that arm, let's see. To fix that arm, maybe it ends there, the move ends there. There you go, but I don't want it to end so abruptly, right? I want there to be still a little bit of movement. So let's see what happens here. So, okay, let me see. All right, let's start it from here. I'm just gonna be super rough with it, and then I'm gonna try to find where, there you go, that's boom, boom, boom. So now what we can do is we can add the motion tile effect to this, right? Add the motion tile effect. Go here to the output with, stretch it out, right? What it does is it basically, let's say I move this here. It's creating extra pixels for you, extra pixels. And if we click this mirror edge, we're mirroring that edge, right? Which is cool. But let's see if this works, because it doesn't work all the time. Let's do that. There you go. Kind of like, you know, then at the same time, there's this line here that I do not like. Right? So I think that's because of the clip. That's because of the clip. I don't like that line. I don't know what this does. What does that do? But yeah, I don't like that line there. Because there's a line in the actual video. You don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-compose this video. I'm just going to go to this video, bring it into a new shot, scale it up a little bit, scale it up by maybe just one, so we can get rid of that line, right, in this comp. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back this shot, press Alt, and just drop it right on there. So hopefully now, being that in this comp, we stretched it out to eliminate that line right there. Hopefully here we don't see that line. Let's see. There you go. I don't see the line. I don't see the line anymore. We get a little bit of movement, but I think the movement's too fast. I still want it to kind of drift. There you go, kind of around there. Still want it to drift. Or maybe that's too much of a big move. Let's kind of like move it here somewhere. There you go, something like that. And then maybe there's no ease. Maybe it just comes in. Maybe it moves. Oh yeah, in order to move things in a straight line, press Shift. If you press Shift and drag it'll move in a straight line. So let's see what's going on here. There you go, something like that. That's too much of a big move. Try to find the happy medium where where it looks natural. You know, there's movement, but it looks natural. Something like that. Maybe a little less. See, just it feels a little bit natural. It's happening, but it's not like, oh my God, that's a fake camera move. Like, you don't want that. Let me go father and son, boom, mother and children, so that we know what the heck is going on. So at a glance, I know what's going on here. Let's see. Boom. So now let's give it a little bit of love, a little bit of padding. Kind of the mom starts maybe around here. And the director, the editor, let me know where he wants this clip to end. And then I'll make sure that I render it out with their, with their time, with their timestamps, and, with their head and tails. How much do they want? Maybe they want it to start here, right? But for me, I feel like she's in the middle. We get to see this motion before we get the transition. So we get to see this motion. We don't know what's going to happen. Oh, hey, oh my God. We get this father and son. And let's move this out a little bit. There you go. We get some movement. There you go. Maybe a little bit here. Just a little bit. Let's see. Boom. So then we get this nice. Boom. Okay, cool. We could go here to this little thing, little graph editor, and we could, see, like that. Sometimes you have to separate these coordinates. You have to separate these. And one thing I hate about it is when you separate it, when you separate these. I used to say, man, what do you call these coordinates or whatever, X, Y, Z, whatever. When you separate these coordinates, you lose your ease. But hey, man, I should have thought about that before. So let's see. You separate the dimensions, add another ease to it. So we're only moving on the X, so we don't need the Y, right? Add an easy ease, kill the first one, come here, go back to the editor. Now we could play around with this ease. Let's see what we get. But let's come here, interpolation, linear. Oh, I messed up. Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Let's come here. Let's just press. I know that's where it starts. This is where it ends. Let me see. This is where it ends for me. Right? That's where it ends. So now I can come here and just go N, B, so that I know. All right, cool. This is where I want to see it. All right, cool. Let's see if we could ease that in a little bit. There you go. Let me see. And we can move this a little bit farther out. There you go. Nice little move. Okay, move it out a little bit. Nice little subtle, soft move. I just realized we get all this darkness right here. We can fix that. Cool. So I think that looks good. As far as right here, it's like right there, that's cool. But then we start getting some darkness. I'm making a duplicate because it's like I like what we have here, but in the duplicate, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start cleaning this up. I just want to be able to go back just in case I mess this up. You don't want to mess this up and then go, oh, I don't have a copy of this thing. So shut this off. Kind of right here. Let's see. So I would say here, I would go back into Mocha because this is gonna be. Okay, let's just do it with the mask here, and let's see what happens. So let's try to find what part of it is getting messed up. Is it? I guess it's this blue mask. So starting here, before it was 10 frames. So let's see. So let's see. I'm gonna do a weird color on this one too, because I need to know what's going on here. All right, cool. So that's this one. Let's see. So I would say at this keyframe, do 10 pixels to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no. Then the next keyframe, it's already out of frame. So now what I would do is I would come here to this keyframe, to this blue, to this one, and do the same thing right here. Come here to this keyframe, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It matches up with the mask before it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think we should be done, hopefully. Let's see. There you go. So we eliminated that that black halo. Sometimes that happens, especially if you have blur. You see, even around here, especially if you have blur, you still get the video, you still get some of the video background, unless you like choke the mat, you choke the mask. Sometimes you can get away with it, you know. So let's see. Press tilde to go full screen. Let's see what we got here. Boom. I can't even see it. I'm not even looking. I'm just looking at the dad. I'm not looking at her and her mask. I'm looking at the dad. So I think I would say we are done with this shot. We are done with this shot. Let's go back out to the trim areas, the whole shot. And like I said, the editor will let me know how long he needs this shot, where he wants the father and son to begin. You know, where does he, where does he want it to, what at what frame he wants the kid to be, the father, and at what timestamp. Also with the mom, where does he want the mom to start? But for me, I would start it here and I would end it here before the kid puts his head back. So that's that. Let's go back into Mocha just so you can see what I did in Mocha. So here's a rundown of what we did together. We tracked mom and children shot in Mocha. We could go back into Mocha, right? We tracked this shot into Mocha. We looked at the shot and identified what we needed to roto. And what we did was we had to create 3 roto shapes for the face, because the face, it moved and it kind of rotated in certain ways that Mocha, it was hard for Mocha to track. So the shapes were unique. So we had to break up the roto into 3 shape layers in order to mask out the face. We did 1 roto shape for the hair, which was the first roto. Then we did a roto shape for the shoulder. And I messed up and I was gonna roto the hand, but then I realized, wait a minute, why am I rotoing the hand? At this point, the video should be, the second video, the shot of the father and son should be already revealed at this point. Her head should just be animating out of the shot, right? So I figured, I was like, why am I rotoing this hand? So I messed up, my bad. So we have the shoulder in there, we have the hair in there. And then another thing is I messed up because I had this phase 2 track where it stopped here. Instead of going here and extending, it stopped here. And I only noticed it when I was out in the comp. So we had to create a quick garbage mask around it that animated based on that hole, and we had to fill in that hole after the Mocha. So you have to sometimes, to me, I just feel like when you're doing this roto stuff, sometimes I like to get out into the main comp and start seeing what my roto's doing. What is it doing? Oh, does it look good? Okay, you know what? Let me go back into Mocha. Sometimes I go, okay, look, the base of my roto looks good from Mocha, but I need to kind of fix this, I need to fix this, and I need to fix this. Sometimes I'll just fix it outside in the main comp instead of just going back to Mocha and try to mess around with keyframes, because once you start adding in extra keyframes in Mocha, that's when you're going to start adding jitters. You don't want to do that. In Mocha, whenever you're rotoscoping, the least keyframes you have, the much smoother your roto will be. So a lot of times I'll do my roto, go out into the main comp, apply that roto to a layer, to a track mat, see what it's doing. If it's doing what I need it to do, then I'll add some motion blur, some blur, and see what that's doing. See, when we added the motion blur to the roto, what it did was it introduced black halos, right? Those black halos was basically this what is it? Yeah, this anything outside of the roto, which was this refrigerator. So as it's moving, we're showing some of that refrigerator, some of his hair behind, especially, see right there where the roto is not tight. That's the whole thing. The roto wasn't tight right here, and that's kind of my fault. The roto wasn't super tight right here. If anything, it should have just been like tight, like right around here. But I didn't want to add extra keyframes, so I fixed that out in the main comp, because we already had a roto that was doing a decent job here. But like I said, hey man, if I'm doing something wrong, leave comments. If you're a professional rotoscope person, leave some comments down in the comment section. But this is how I would go about rotoing. This is how I would attack it. You know, of course, we could have got in there. If the shot was a little bit straightforward, then Mocha would have done a better job at tracking. But being that her head moves, it rotates, we have to break up the roto in chunks in order for this thing to work. I hope you guys learned that, rotoscoping, does take time, but it's rewarding. When you rotoscope a shot, right, and it comes out really good, it makes you feel good inside. It makes you feel all warm inside. And I'm not gonna lie, rotoscoping to me is kind of therapeutic. I don't like to tell my clients that, but rotoscoping for some strange reason is kind of therapeutic because I'm always looking at the end result. I know that if I rotoscope this really well, whatever I'm doing to the final shot, whatever VFX or whatever I'm trying to add to the shot, it's just gonna come out that much better. So I hope you guys learned something. This is my first tutorial. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you guys want to see. My name is Steven Tapia. I do motion graphics for everything. Music videos, commercials, films, it doesn't even matter. I love what I do, and at this point I consider myself a motion graphics generalist because I can basically work on anything. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. Please hit me up, leave some comments down there, like, subscribe, all that goodness. Let's get it.